I was going to talk about tonight was deciding which HCG protocol to follow. So there's a lot of protocols out there, and I know that when you're researching the diet and you're new, or even if you're seasoned HCGer, it can be confusing deciding if you should try something new or why there's differences and all that stuff. So what I'm going to do here today is, it's not exhaustive, but I am going to try to give you just kind of a main big picture view of HCG protocols to help you not feel overwhelmed. So quick disclaimer, I am not a doctor or a medical professional. This is not medical advice. I'm just sharing my experience and what I've seen from others. If you see me looking to the right a lot, it's because I do have an outline, and that is because, hi Kim, hi Donna. I have an outline because I want to really give you useful information, and I don't want to run on too much, and I want to make sure that we get through this and you get what you need. So just a quick little history. I'm HCG Chica Razel. I did do the HCG diet myself. I did a total of 5 rounds with injections. I went from 172 pounds. Today I'm 127 pounds, and I have been maintaining that weight loss for 7 years, actually. So it may sound like it's been a really long time since I've done HCG, and it has been. It's been 7 years. But I do have a lot of experience, both having done it, writing all about it, and then also all of the interviews I've done and all the stories through email that I, interact with everyone, seeing what works, what doesn't work, all that stuff. So that's just my little history in a nutshell, so you know who I am. Hi, nice to see you. Wow, Angel said she's lost 100 pounds since 2018 in September. That is amazing. That's wow, just over a year, I think, right? That's awesome. So this is really great. Nice to see you. Hi, Amy, and you are a P3 lifer. That's wonderful. It's so nice to see you guys. I used to do live videos on Periscope 4 years ago. I don't know if you guys have been around that long, but I did them pretty frequently. And it was fun, but I would talk for an hour and answer a zillion questions, and it was a little overwhelming too. So I couldn't do them for my energy anymore. But anyhow, I'm going to get started to respect your guys' time. So we're talking about, again, deciding which HCG protocol to follow. So first thing I want to tell you is that whatever protocol you choose to try, you can always adjust and try something different during your round. So you're never stuck. I want to make sure you never feel stuck. The guidelines for making a starting choice with a protocol is that, remember, there's basically just 2 big decisions you have to make. And again, even those can be changed at any time. But the 2 big decisions, oh, that's awesome, Angel. The 2 big decisions are how many calories you're going to eat on the diet, which is either typically going to be 500 or somewhere between 700 and 900. So that's decision number 1. Decision number 2 is what foods are you going to allow yourself to eat on the diet. And again, there's 2 choices there pretty much, which is you're going to either eat Simeon's food list, SP protocol, or you're going to eat AP, alternate protocol food lists. The only real main difference between those 2 food lists is that the AP protocol basically just has a lot more vegetable choices, fruit choices, and protein choices. That's kind of the main difference, okay? So let's get into talking about calories. How do you decide which calories you want to take in on the HCG diet? So the main point here with the 500 calorie diet, that was Dr. Simeon's original, right? Is that as long as you're on a good dosage of HCG, HCG does indeed change your hunger on the diet, and so it's important to get the dosage right for that to happen properly. As long as you have that dialed in, which I'll do a live on that in the future, many will find that the 500 calories is plenty, and that works for you. And then in that case, you're probably going to lose the most weight for your time on that protocol. So it'll work for many. However, there are scenarios where eating more calories on the diet will actually prevent stalling and allow you to lose more weight than if you undereat in your circumstances. So we're going to talk about 4 main reasons that you might want to consider one of the higher calorie protocols, somewhere between 700. For most women, it's 700 to 900, maybe on occasion 1,000 if you're doing weightlifting, but generally 700 to 900 are the higher calorie protocols. So the 4 main reasons to consider that would be 1, exercise, if you're continuing to exercise on HCG. 2, you have a really busy job, you're walking all day, you're standing all day. 3rd reason would be if you're within 10 to 15 pounds of your goal weight. And the 4th reason would be if you're experiencing constant, unending fatigue on the 500 calories. So we're gonna break each of those reasons down just a little bit. So we'll start with reason number 1, exercise. So for people who wanna exercise on HCG, what can happen is you can end up feeling extremely fatigued on the diet if you try to stick with the 500, and you can also end up losing more muscle because what happens is you're tearing your muscle down when you work out, but then you're not providing it enough calories and protein to rebuild that muscle. So while your goal would have been to get stronger, and that's why you're working out, you can actually end up weaker by the end of the round. And you know, it's possible you might lose more weight that way too, but that weight might be muscle, and that's really, there's no advantage unless you're like the Hulk when it comes to muscle mass. There's really no advantage for us ladies to be losing any muscle. So that's one reason that if you're gonna keep exercising on HCG, you're probably gonna really wanna do a higher calorie protocol, definitely having another protein serving, and that way you probably will lose more weight as a result because you're not kind of demanding too much of your body. Does that make sense? So reason number 2 is kind of very similar. So having your job, a very intense active job, like, you know, say you're a nurse and you kind of technically walk several miles a day because you're back and forth doing your rounds, or, you know, just something busy. Or maybe you have 6 kids and you're just running around after them all day. You know, in that case, same thing for you. You can end up having the same issues where you're really just profoundly fatigued and you're really struggling. One thing to keep in mind when you have a more active job, even one where you're walking a lot throughout the day, there's some estimates online that say you may actually be burning twice as many calories per day as a person who is sedentary, sitting at a desk job. And that's significant. And it might be easy to think like, oh, you know, that's great. I'll just, you know, keep eating the 500 calories and then I'll lose even more weight than someone sitting at a desk. But that's not how it ends up working a lot. So our bodies they're just really good at keeping the balance, which we should be grateful for. And so when we kind of do things too extreme, like a bunch of extreme things all at the same time, our body tends to rebel and it puts in place its protective mechanisms. And so it can start slowing down our metabolism, doing different things to conserve. And so in that case, it's like, there's been times like with even people saying like, oh, I'm exercising and burning 500 calories so that my net calorie intake is 0 so that I will lose like so much weight. But it doesn't end up working out that way. And again, it's just because it's just too much to ask of your body. So yeah, so that's another time when you've got a real busy job, just consider that. 3rd reason, if you have 10 to 15 pounds to your goal weight, it's not like a rule, like 10 to 15, you know, it could be 20, it could be 5, I don't know, it's not a rule, but when you don't have very much weight to lose, what we find is that at that point, oftentimes there's no HCG dosage that ends up creating the same non-hunger effect that we get when we're still heavier. So, for instance, when I was on a good dose of HCG when I was heavier, there was days when I would only eat even 300 calories. I was just so not hungry on 125 IU of HCG. By my final round, my 5th round, I was getting quite lean, and I was on what was a good dose, and some days it was okay, but I definitely needed the full 500, and there was days when I really did need like 800, and so I ate 800 on those days because I had like true hunger. And you don't want to like spend a lot of time, in my opinion anyway, being really hungry because I just feel like that's asking for an eating disorder, you know, and when you're done with the diet, you can freak out and start binging, and it's just not a healthy mental or emotional space to be in. I don't think it's a healthy thing. So you want to avoid that, and I do think it's avoidable. So whether that's adjusting your dose or eating a little more so that you're sane, that's worth it. And when you get leaner, you're gonna probably find to keep your hunger manageable that you may need to increase your calories. The 4th reason for raising your calories on HCG is if you're feeling fatigued. This isn't meaning like, say you feel good most of the time, but here and there, 1 or 2 days a week, you feel extra tired. That can be fine on the 500 calorie diet. It's expected. You're eating less. Your body's having to use fat for fuel instead of food. It's kind of a change. There's toxins in your fat, so you could feel bad from that kind of getting flushed through your system. I think that's okay. But if you start feeling like fatigue on a consistent basis, it's just kind of ongoing and you just really feel unwell, that might be a point where you should experiment with more calories and just see how you feel. And remember, you're never committed to anything long term. You can just be like, man, I've felt like crap for a whole week. I think I'm gonna try eating 200 or 300 more calories today and just see how I feel, and do that for 3 days. And if you feel like, wow, adding that 300 calories, my head is more clear, I can think, I can do stuff, I feel so much better, then that's probably the right decision for you. And I don't want you to worry about like, oh, but I'm eating 300 more calories and now I'm not gonna lose as much. Like, don't even think about that. First of all, your mental health comes first. Second of all, 300 calories over the course of a round is not going to make that much of a difference, especially if it's what allows you to stay sane enough to last for the round and to not cheat. And then, as I mentioned, in some cases, you actually might end up losing better or more because it's a better balance for your body and your body will release fat more easily. So just keep that in mind too. You'll never know till you try it, right? So those are the 4 reasons there. I have a little timer here. I'm at 12 minutes, guys. It's not too bad. I think I'm a little bit faster than I was on Instagram earlier. I had a dry run, so I'm hoping this is a little bit more, a little better on second time around. Okay, so that was first decision, calories, right? Now we're on to foods. Second main decision, what foods are you gonna allow yourself to eat on the diet? Again, you can always change it later, but we've got Simeon's Protocol, SP food list, and we've got AP, alternate food protocol food list. The main difference between Simeon's Protocol food list and AP food lists, I should really put a plural because every protocol is slightly different, so they're not all the same, but I kind of compile them all into one page and, call it good. The main difference is just that there's a lot more fruit, vegetable, and protein choices in general. So when it comes to like deciding like, okay, which one should I do? Honestly, this is really just an experiment. So you can't really be sure. The thing is even on Dr. Simeon's original food list, there's a number who find that some foods that they don't do well with that seem to cause stalling or inflammation. Cabbage, tomatoes, and beef are 3 of those. Not for everybody, but for some, those are the ones that keep coming up again and again. Like I never actually hear anyone say that onions makes them stall, but I've heard cabbage, tomatoes, and beef a lot over the course of the last 8 years. And apples, apples is a big thing on Dr. Simeon's Protocol, and apples make me very hungry. Like if I eat an apple, I get really hungry after that. And it's like, somehow the sugar and carb content in it seems to cause that. So even on his protocol, it's not necessarily like if you do his, then you're for sure like that's the best thing for you. So just keep that in mind, that it's really just about trying things out and just pretty much remembering that the main point is no matter whether you eat SP foods or AP foods, most of it should work. Most of it should work. And then on occasion, there may be indeed something that seems to be interfering with your weight loss, causing inflammation or something like that. And at that point, say it's something you've been having 4 days a week. That food, you might be worth removing. Like if you're not sure what it is, if there's a food you've been eating kind of consistently, try removing it for a few days and just see if things change. But the other thing to keep in mind is your weight loss just naturally slows down in the latter half of the round a lot of times. And so you don't want to confuse that with thinking it's what you're eating. It's just that's the natural pace of weight loss. But it doesn't hurt to take something out and put something else in instead. And so you can always do that. So that's the basics. It's just like the calories and which foods. That's the bare bones framework for what all protocols are basically based on, right? After that, it's really just about adding in all the details. So there's a lot of like smaller details that make each HCG protocol its own, unique thing that can have its own name. But the differences are typically pretty small. They could make a difference in how you feel and your results, so I'm not denying that. They could. I'm just going to give you a few examples of some details that are different with prep protocols. So all the higher calorie protocols that I'm aware of include having breakfast, like real breakfast with like a meat and a fruit or something like that. Some protocols have no fruit. Most have more protein than the original diet and more protein options, including protein powders. Some allow you to mix vegetables and some don't. Some have you continue taking HCG during your period and some don't. So those are just a few of the, kind of different details there. I wanted to you guys probably actually already know this, but some of the protocols you can check out if you're interested. There's of course Simeon's original protocol. And if you want to read his PDF, it's free online. Just search HCG Chica plus pounds and inches and you'll find that. It's a free download. On Amazon, there are a few main books that a lot of people will utilize. One is Lipman's 800, Lipman's 800. That's obviously an 800 calorie protocol. HCG 2.0, that's a pretty popular one that a lot of people have utilized at different points. And Sonia Russell, she has a book too. And you can just make your own. You can make your own protocol. They call that MOP, my own protocol. And that's what I did actually on my later rounds. Now that you kind of have the framework of how things are, you realize like, oh, I can kind of pick and choose and see what works for me. And just realize that it's not magic. Like there isn't like one thing about one protocol that's gonna like magically make everything like double the results. They're all gonna have you're gonna have success with probably all of them, but certain ones are gonna feel better to you or digest better for you or, whatever. And so that's just about kind of finding what works for you. So like in my later round, I did a final round where I had kind of been dealing with some cravings. And so for my last round, I decided I didn't want to eat any fruits because they kind of made me feel like craving sugar. So I didn't eat the fruits on phase 2. And I kind of felt like, well, if I'm not eating the fruits on phase 2, then I should get to eat a lot more vegetables, like a lot more varieties of vegetables. I'm not going to just like be stuck with onions and beet greens because I'm not eating apples now and I'm not eating oranges. So I had a lot of different vegetables. I had zucchini, I had mushrooms, I even had a little bit of carrot in a salad. I had sugar-free deli ham. For the fruits that I took out, I put in fat-free Greek yogurt in its place. I can't remember, it was like 60 calories worth or so. And I felt like that worked really good for me. And so that's what I did. That was like my little own protocol. So you can do that too. If you want more detailed info just on this topic, I have a blog post you can go to. It's free. It's hcgchica.com/which diet. So just write down /which diet, and then you'll be able to go look it up later. So yeah, I'd put like a sticker or something, but I really don't know how to do any of that on here yet. But anyway, okay, so to wrap up, I want to just tell you 3 things to remember so that you don't get overwhelmed, okay? So 3 main things. The first thing is that for most protocols, the 2 main aspects of the diet are going to be the calories and the foods allowed. And outside of that, it's just a lot of little varying details. So just to try to keep it simple. The second thing to remember is that you're not stuck following any one certain protocol once you start it. If you feel like it's not serving you or not working well for one reason or another, whether physical or mental or emotional, you can change things up, Some might want to start out with Simeon's protocol because they just feel like, that's the tried and trusted protocol. So I just feel like I'll get the best results if I do that. And so that's fine and start with that. But maybe 20 days in, you're just like, oh my goodness, I'm going to go stark raving mad if I have to do this diet one more time and if I eat, any more onions. And if that's the case, rather than just like totally going off the diet and cheating, you might decide, you know what, now's the time to try out some miracle noodles or, some AP vegetable, have some zucchini or whatever. You might do that. Or maybe you're a person who starts out totally alternate protocol. You're doing all the stuff that's not on the original one and you're doing so many different off protocol things. And then partway in, you're kind of feeling like unsure. Like, I feel like my weight loss isn't as good as it could be. And if you feel like that, at that point, you can pivot a little bit and test it out. Like, hey, I'm going to do SP now for 5 days and just see if my weight loss picks up, You can do that. So the third reminder to not be overwhelmed is that no matter what protocol you follow, unless you have some other condition like, some hormone problem, adrenal, thyroid, like that's really, really off, and barring that, any protocol you follow, in the vast majority of cases, you are going to lose weight on all of them if they're less than 900 calories. So just keep that in mind too, just to keep it in perspective. You will make progress. You can make adjustments, but don't panic too much about, we all have different personalities. For me, one of my struggles with my personality is sometimes I feel like I have to research until I find the exact right decision for me before I've even tried it. But the thing is, you can't know what's gonna work for you before you've tried it always. It's impossible to know. And so you're just so stressed out, trying to figure it out, and you can't. And so it's okay. You're gonna do good. You're gonna make progress. Don't try to set your mind on any exact result, because you can't really dictate that to your body anyway. Just let it flow. Yeah, so those are the principles to keep in mind. The last thing I wanted to say, and then I'll answer a few questions. I should have mentioned that at the beginning, that I would answer a few questions, but this is the special launch week of the HCG Chica Phase 2 recipes. And there's 441 HCG recipes. It's at hcgchicarecipes.com. And the thing I wanted to mention is that if you buy them this week, only this week, what was I going to say? If you buy them this week, I made a bonus for you guys. So it's actually a few sample meal plans of both the 500 calorie protocol and the 800 calorie protocol. And I have a blank meal plan too that you can print out and make your own meal plans for the week if you want, with my recipes or someone else's recipes, doesn't matter. So that's for this whole week, and you don't have to add anything to your cart to get it. It's just gonna automatically be sent to you through email when you buy the recipes this week. And then one other thing is that when you check out with the recipes, there's one more offer that I show you, which is a companion to the recipes, which is my diet workbook. Some of you may have it. But I wanted to just show you a couple samples of the pages. It just works well because you can use the recipes and eat, but it's also nice to track your progress and to write things down and just kind of, for me, I feel like I journal almost every day. But so here's an example of, in the book, it's a nice handy sheet that shows both SP foods and AP foods in one handy sheet. I have an inch loss tracker in there, see here, where you can track your inch loss, which is super important. Sometimes you don't have a loss on the scale, but your inches are going down, and you need to track that so you know. Otherwise, you get so discouraged. So here's an overall thing. And then I've got, here's one of the daily tracking pages where you can kind of write stuff in each day. So there's a lot in there, but those are just a few examples. So anyway, that is it for that. And I can answer a few questions now. So Bobby wants to know if HCG causes cancer. So I can't know for sure, of course, but what I can tell you is that fertility clinics across the whole world give huge doses of HCG shots to women trying to get pregnant. I don't think they would do that if it was known that it caused cancer. To a bunch of young women trying to get pregnant. And they're taking 5,000, 10,000 IU shots, boom, all in one go. We're taking 125, 150 a day, So it's a very small amount. So my inclination is that I don't feel like it's something that adds to it. So I hope that helps. Megan wants to know, what about the future of the HCG protocol? So for those of you who are on my email list, you can get on it at hcgchica.com if you're not. I did send out a couple emails with some concerns about accessibility of HCG. I was pretty afraid earlier this week, and I'm only feeling more normal right now just because, with time you start just adjusting. So Andreas at New Image Medical, he's one of the companies on my blog. Everybody is basically in a flurry to figure out what they're going to do right now. And so they're very quickly trying to figure out, okay, how's this going to work? And so he's one of the people who's, they don't all tell me all the details because they're all trying to figure out their plan, but they don't want anyone else to know their plan, like the other companies. So I'm kind of not fully, I don't know everything, but I know they have plans. So Yeah, but anyway, the consensus at the moment, Andreas feels that he will be able to continue providing HCG from the branded HCG at a similar pricing. That's what he feels. So I'm like, I'm so ready to believe that, like, please. So I hope so. I hope it will be fine. So but I can't be sure. It's kind of just a waiting game, basically. So you're welcome. Connie wants to know, so if you're still hungry, would you up the HCG dose or lower it? So that is an excellent question. I actually have an outline already for one of my next lives where I will talk all about the details of that, but I will try to answer your question right now. First of all, if you want more details, go to hcgchica.com/dosage. I have an incredibly long article, but it does kind of give you all the details you need. Basically, whether you go up or down depends on like when you're hungry. So if you wake up in the morning and you take your shot and then you're like ravenous an hour after your shot, usually that means your dose is too high. Like you took your shot and now there's like too much HCG in your system and it's causing you to be super hungry. I'm gonna just write this other question down and then I'll finish what I was saying. Yeah. So, but say you get up in the morning, you take your shot, you feel fine at first, but then as the day wears on, you find yourself getting hungrier and hungrier. And like, even though you had lunch and dinner, it kind of only took the edge off and like, you're just still like you're just like really, and then by nighttime, you're just like really hungry, even though you ate dinner. That to me would mean that your dose is too low right now. So I don't know if that helps, but I will be running the Disney Princess Half Marathon in February and have been training for it. I can't see the rest of your comment. It's only letting me like it. Oh wait, I see. I will be training for it. I'll be loading Friday and Saturday and starting. Oh, I'm so sorry. You know, it's not letting me see your whole comment, Yvonne. I don't know why. I wish I was better. When I tap on it, it doesn't let me see the rest of it. What about doing drops until the excess weight is gone? I'm personally not a fan of staying on the diet for extended lengths of time. That's just me. It's totally your choice. I respect your decision. Everyone's different. I have had a few interviews with people who did it successfully, so I'm not saying it's impossible. What I feel though is that it is definitely a stress for your body. And when you kind of are on an extended, very low calorie diet, I just feel like the stress to your body is a bit risky. So because I have thyroid and adrenal issues, I have to be very careful not to overdo it. And when I do, I'm down for the count for a while. So I'm just really sensitive to that topic. And so for me, I'm like, I like the rounds with the breaks because I just feel like it gives your body a chance to recalibrate and to get back to homeostasis and be healthy and then do another, that's just my personal opinion, but so. Any other questions, you guys? We're at 28 minutes, so I did this on my other one. I ended up doing twice as long as but hey, I think it worked out. At least it's on an hour, so that's okay. And I did give room between the two lives too. So I was trying to figure out how to do like both lives at once, like I could have two devices, but I could do that. I might try it sometime, but I felt like I might be overwhelmed too and like trying to look at two screens and questions from both screens and so I just thought for my first live I should just stick with one platform. Anyway, thank you guys. What is considered an extended period, Bobby? Yes, and do you do more rounds, Lourdes? Yes, you do more rounds. So basically, so an extended period to me would be doing the diet for more than like 6 weeks at a time. Maybe you could stretch it to 7. Some people do it for 8 or, longer, but the original diet had you do it for up to 6 weeks. And that's what I did on mine. And then you take a break for at least 6 weeks after that. Dr. Simeon's actually wanted you to extend your breaks between rounds with each successive round. So it was like after round 1, you take a break for 6 weeks. After round 2, you take a break for 8 weeks. After round 3, you take a break for 10 weeks. When I did it, I actually was off for like 4 months. I can see why you wouldn't want to do that. Like, if you've got 100 pounds to lose, you don't want to be off of a diet for 4 months. So I get it. But I think if you could even just give yourself the 6 weeks to stabilize, to eat more calories again, to have fat, like, you know, you're not eating fat for months on end. I just don't know. Yeah. So if you could just do the diet for 6 weeks, take a 6-week break, then do another 6 weeks. I just feel like you might potentially, like, long term do better that way, but it's totally up to you. So, oh, do I prefer drops, injections, or patches? Hi, Carly. I love the name Carly, by the way. I think that's such a pretty name. There's a gal at my CrossFit named Carly, and I really like her. Good thing she's not mean, or I wouldn't like your name. Sorry. I prefer injections just because that's what I did. With injections, what's nice is that you know the exact amount you're getting. Since dosage has such effect on your hunger, drops, like, you can do drops. It's just that you know how much you absorb will vary from day to day, and you don't even quite know how much of it you're absorbing. So if you're struggling with hunger, it just makes it a little more challenging to actually change your dosage. With injections, if I inject 125 IU, that's how much I know I have in my body. And if I'm hungry on that and I want to inject 150 IU instead, and it makes it better, then I can do that every day after that, inject 150 IU and know that I don't have to be hungry every day and not kind of guess. So that's what I like about injections. I actually don't know anything about the patches, so I can't help on that. I'm so glad you like the recipes, Charity. Thank you. You're welcome, Angel. Mary, do you recommend staying on drops during your period or eating more protein during it? That one's a tough one. So here's how I did it. Okay, so here's the idea. When you're on your period, the idea is that your body actually produces some HCG. So I believe that's why Dr. Simeon's actually felt you didn't need to take any, because your body was basically producing your dose of HCG. That said, I was honestly too nervous to really do that for like the whole cycle, menstrual cycle. So what I did was I stopped injecting on like just 1 or 2 of my heaviest flow days. And then on the lighter flow days, I injected. So that's kind of how I handled that. So, you know, that's just a little bit there. Okay, so a couple more questions here. I'm pointing to my arm. Is that where you inject? Actually, you know, most of the time I injected in my belly, but yes, I did. It was more in my delt. I did inject here. And actually, that's another good tip is if you are struggling with hunger, sometimes changing your injection location can help. I did that my 5th round and my belly was like, I don't know, I guess I just didn't have much fat left. And what I did have was excess skin. And I think the needle wasn't able to like it was just kind of going into my excess skin and that wasn't kind of absorbing into my body properly. So then I moved to my delt and I felt so much better on the same dose and I wasn't hungry. And I was like, whoa. So that really helped me. Yeah, you're welcome. I don't want to freak everyone else so that there's not necessarily a ban on HCG coming up. It's just that the rules are changing for who can actually like basically use HCG to create mixtures. And so compounding pharmacies may not be able to. The one thing to remember is what I've seen in the legal world is there's so many different little laws and ways to get around things sometimes. And so sometimes it's just like you know how they say certain people like in crimes, like they get off on a technicality? I'm kind of still, I don't know yet, but I'm like, I wonder if there's some technicality that they can circumvent and, you know, so I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyhow, I see. How do you know how much to start with? Lisa, if you just go to my post, hcgchica.com/dosage, that will help you. But pretty much 150 IU is a good starting dose. Usually from there, you may need to go a little bit up or down, but 150 is a good starting dose. Yes, you want to load again between rounds. I'm trying to go back here and see some of these other questions. So yeah, you do load between rounds. If you take a break for 2 years, are you considered back on round 1 with? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was another lifetime. Yeah, so for sure. Let's see. Is it true you can have MCT oil on P2? I had that question on Instagram too today, actually. I think some do. Some protocols allow it. Basically, like they allow coconut oil and MCT oil. I'm still on the fence about it, honestly. I don't really know. So you could try it and see how you do. It will add calories, so just so you know that. And but you know, some feel like it's fine. There are loopholes, Kinley. I know, right? So I think that's honestly what's been going on for the last several years is loopholes already. Hopefully the loopholes aren't coming to an end. So thanks for all of your time today, guys. I gotta get going. I need to go eat some dinner and just chill and just stop talking. I think I get tired when I talk a lot. So it's kind of like this is a two-way conversation, but kind of not. So anyway, thank you guys for being with me this evening. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see if I can like save this video and post it for you guys on Instagram or something like that, okay? And yeah, the recipes again are at hcgchicarecipes.com. This is the special launch week, so you get a bonus of the meal plans if you buy it this week only. So yeah, yep. All right, have a nice evening, you guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.